Welcome, everyone, to the 2022 mayoral debate. Hello, everybody. I'm Doug Prophet from WHAS 11 News, and we are live here at the grand stage of the Whitney Hall here in downtown Louisville. Whitney Hall going to be celebrating its 39th birthday in a couple of weeks, as we are going to bring you the debate for mayor. Democrat Craig Greenberg and Bill Dieruf, they're here on stage, going to be answering some very important questions tonight about the top issues facing our community. So it's going to be an active hour for you. A lot of questions going to be answered coming your way. We are glad you were with us, as we are now under 2 weeks from Election Day on November 8th. Before we get started, though, we've got a great welcome coming your way from the President and CEO of the Kentucky Performing Arts. Here's Kim Baker. Kim, thank you very much for inviting us to do this debate with you. WHAS 11, proud to be a part of this effort tonight.
Good evening, Doug. Thank you and the entire WHAS team for helping us bring this important discussion to our community. Thank you, mayoral candidates, for being here with us on the Whitney Hall stage tonight. Good evening and welcome. We make our home in downtown Louisville, including right here on Main Street in the iconic Kentucky Center for the Performing Arts. We know that a strong downtown means a strong city, and right now there are many issues facing our community that require extraordinary leadership. As the state and the region's premier performing arts center, with a national reputation as a leader and innovator in the arts and culture, we strive to represent and reflect the great diversity of our community and our state. In a typical year, we welcome up to 500,000 people from every corner of the Commonwealth and in the country to our venues and our performances. And we contribute nearly $30 million to the local economy. Through our education programming, including the Governor's School for the Arts, we foster the future of Kentucky's creative leadership, impacting the next generation of Kentucky leaders in all 120 counties. We have big hopes and big expectations for our city. We also have a unique role to play in our city and our state's success. Tonight, we look forward to learning more about our mayoral candidates and their own priorities. Thank you for joining us.
All right, Kim, thank you very much. Now it's time to get started. Now, just a few moments ago before our debate, we flipped a coin, and candidate Craig Greenberg won the coin flip, so he will answer the first question. Each candidate has 90 seconds to answer each question, and I'll be asking questions along with our team of WHAS 11 journalists here with me at the table tonight: Isaiah Kim Martinez, Eric King from Good Morning Kentuckiana, and Bobby McSwine. We want to begin with the top concern of so many people, though, on your mind: public safety. Now, this question is for both of you to answer. We have a crisis of crime and confidence in this city. Just yesterday, 2 men innocently and randomly stabbed on 4th Street Live in the heart of the tourism district. Another man beaten with the claw end of a hammer by the Brown Hotel. Large numbers of people in our community still don't trust the police. The police don't trust politicians. Yet nearly every neighborhood in our community is saying, we need the police. The racial justice protest said it loud and clear to all of us: we're all tired of the talk and no action. So give me specifics of what you'll do in your very first week to show us some action.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, WHAS, and thank you for everyone in Louisville for tuning in tonight. Without a doubt, improving public safety is the #1 job for the next mayor of Louisville, for the entire city government, and for all of us who live in Louisville this year. This year alone, 131 individuals have been murdered. Over 330 have been shot. Thousands of families across this city have been impacted by gun violence. That is too much. We must take immediate action to address this issue, to improve public safety and address this public health crisis. I myself am the most fortunate person in the city, in this country, to still be here. Earlier this year, an individual walked into our campaign office and fired 6 gunshots directly at me from 15 feet away. I have learned firsthand the impact of gun violence on families, on neighbors, on neighborhoods. And so we will do everything, starting on the first day of office, to crack down on illegal guns and reduce the amount of guns in our city. We will ensure that guns that are confiscated off the street are never used again to commit a crime. We will also have a police department that is the best trained, the most trusted, and the most transparent. Louisville deserves nothing but the best and nothing but the most transparent. And we must do more than police our way to safety. We must also invest in the root causes of poverty and invest more in mental health resources so people get the help they need before they commit a crime.
Mr. Dieruf.
So as a sitting mayor, I do this every day. It's not January 1 that we start. Right now we provide the safety to both Jeffersontown and many parts of this county. In fact, last night we had a drug bust that was outside our borders. So we understand that in the future, what makes the next mayor the best one is somebody that the police department says, yes, we will follow you. Yes, we will join you. And we, at a U of L game, we had a police officer, Zach's dad, came up and said, I want you to be the next mayor because our police need you downtown and we will work together. But that's not only the police department saying that, that's the community saying that we want to work together to make sure it's a community-driven police department, to where the people that are in the community know their police officers know their community, so the situations don't happen. But we talked about what happened downtown here yesterday with the utility knife. It wasn't a gun and a hammer. I guess we're going to outlaw hardware stores now. I don't know. But the thing is, it was a horrendous situation downtown that is going to kill our tourism, kill our convention center. We will put a division downtown of 100 police officers to keep downtown safe. They will be ambassadors, not to be here to make you feel uneasy, but to make you safe and make you feel comfortable downtown. So as the policing looks like in the future, we have to have the soft side, because these two people had behavioral problems that we should be reaching out to them before the situation has happened. And we do that in Jeffersontown with our Angel program, with our Victims Advocate, and with our social workers.
Next question from Isaiah Kim Martinez.
Gentlemen, we actually spoke with the Inspector General, Louisville's Inspector General today, who said on the record that he expects some form of a consent decree to come from the DOJ report on Louisville police. If that were the case, specifically, how would both of you adjust your plans to address issues like staffing and trust within the community? Mr. Dieruf, we'll start with you.
So a DOJ report is an audit. As an accountant, we accept those all the time, and we look at that as a way of improving what we do. So when we have the DOJ, we would work with them, what is the best to police department in the future? So rather than look at it as a negative, we should make LMPD the glowing department that everybody wants to come to, not everybody who wants to leave. When J-Town had openings for 2 officers, 100 LMPD said they wanted to come to J-Town. We need to reverse that and have Louisville be the one where everybody wants to come. And I look at the DOJ report as something that we take and we work with the Department of Justice. And also there was another report with 113 different items that should be worked on right now. So the future of policing is different than what you see right now. But the future of policing is something we're already looking to improve in Jeffersontown, and we will bring that downtown. And Rick Sanders, what better way to bring a person as Rick Sanders, who's been a chief, who's been in federal DEA, and has been state. So he understands exactly what it takes to make Louisville safe again.
Mr. Greenberg.
This is more than an audit. This is a patterns and practice investigation by the Department of Justice that I believe should be a framework for improving public safety across all of Louisville. We need to ensure that our police department is the most trusted in every part of this community. That means transparency. That means following the recommendations of the DOJ. That means working on community policing so that our police officers have the support of the mayor, have the support of the community, are working closely with members of the clergy, small business owners, neighborhood leaders. Anyone who wants to be a part of the public safety solution should be a part of working with our officers, mental health professionals, medical professionals to make Louisville safer. This is not a position we want to find our city in, but we're here, and so we need to embrace it and move forward in a transparent way. Let me translate something, because this is a big difference between my opponent and myself. He just talked about who he's bringing downtown, as he says, to address this issue of public safety. Let me translate this for you. He is bringing Matt Bevin, State Police Commissioner, to run public safety in Louisville. I think that is a giant step backwards. I want to work with people across this entire city of Louisville to move Louisville forward in a new direction, not move backwards and have a second Governor Bevin administration overseeing City Hall in Louisville. We cannot afford going backwards. We must move forwards.
Mr. Dieruf, if you'd like to have a rebuttal, go right ahead.
So impede somebody's integrity that is not on stage, that is representing police departments in the federal level, state level, and in J-Town, and has been boots on the ground in the county, is disingenuous in its political rhetoric. So I would say Rick Sanders, when he was DEA in command, he worked for Democrat and Republican presidents. He didn't work for one or the other. And then when he became the state commissioner, he was picked by a Democrat, so I guess he's against Democrats, to be the state commissioner. He didn't even meet the governor till after he was hired by a committee of 18 and put into the position. So somebody that has been keeping us safe for close to 40 years, to say they don't understand what policing is about, is somebody that does not understand policing.
I'm going to move it to Eric King for his next question, but Eric, if you want to continue that, you're welcome to.
I'll move on to the next question because I want to talk about relative experience. So I'll have a nuanced question for each of you. Mr. Greenberg, this first one is for you. How does your previous experience in both the public and private sectors translate to or relate to your ability to reduce violent crime?
Addressing violent crime in Louisville and improving public safety it requires creating a team at the police department, throughout all of city government, folks that are going to work on improving this public health crisis and investing in the root causes of poverty, improving mental health services, reopening community centers so that there's more programming for young adults that need it, addressing in the crisis of jails. My entire career, I've worked with people from all sides. I've worked to create teams of individuals, diverse individuals, who are empowered to get things done. But ultimately, being mayor of a city like Louisville requires leadership, people who can make decisions, who are honest with the community, who admit mistakes when they're made and learn from those mistakes about how we're going to move forward, and reflect the values of this city. And my values are about bringing our city together at this critical time right now and moving forward in a new direction. I'm not going to be controlled like Mitch McConnell, like my opponent, whose super PAC is trying to buy this election. I am not going to have a second Governor Bevin administration. We are going to be working together. People might think it's funny. I don't think having a second Matt Bevin administration is funny. I don't think letting Mitch McConnell control City Hall is funny. We need to bring people together, reflecting Louisville values, to move us in a new direction.
Okay. Once again, I'd just like to remind you the rules. If we could keep the applause to the end, we'd really appreciate it. And Eric, you want to pick up with your question with Mr. Dieruf?
Mr. Dieruf, specifically to you, how does your experience as a mayor of a more suburban environment relate to or translate to your ability to reduce violent crime in a more urban environment?
Well, let me take a few seconds here to address what he just accused me of, if you don't mind.
I don't.
The apparency of a Mitch McConnell, I am a sitting mayor. I work with Morgan McGarvey. I work with Mitch McConnell. I work with the governor. I worked extensively with the governor during the pandemic, who happens to be a Democrat. I work with all the legislators. That's the job of a mayor, to work with everybody across the aisle. To the point to where he was talking about the PAC that is supporting me is not Mitch McConnell's PAC. But there's also two Democratic PACs that supported me. So I guess the Democrats and Republican, I am the true centrist. And half my campaign team is Democrat and half of them are Republican. So when I look to what the next representative should be, they should be somebody that understands what a centrist is and how to lead everybody. But when we start talking about safety, how do I qualify for that? I am a sitting mayor. I have done this for 20 years. I have worked with the police department to make them the best of the best. They have been certified year after year after year. Every year, whether I was on the council or whether I was as a mayor, they are certified statewide and nationally as one of the best police departments. But that means bringing safety to here on the soft side too. We realized many years ago it wasn't just the policing that we have to do as far as the community policing, the intelligence-led policing, which we will get rid of the cartel and the gang leaders, but it also is a point where we have to have the soft side for those that are addicted and those that have behavioral problems, and I do that as a mayor right now, and I understand how to do that and move it forward in downtown on a larger scale.
All right, next question from WHS 11's Bobby McSwine. Bobby?
All right, gentlemen, Mr. Dieruf, you will start first. Now, again, speaking to Louisville's Inspector General today, he said that LMPD is still not cooperating in turning over files he needs to investigate certain cases. We heard this last month as well. As mayor, what would you do to restore trust in LMPD and solve this problem? As you know, the Inspector General's office was created in the wake of Breonna Taylor's death to restore that transparency.
So I know I keep repeating this and you all may get tired. I am a sitting mayor, and then when we have a situation, we reach out to the person that is a situation and we respond to you all as quick as possible, if not bring you all into the situation, whether it's body camera or whether it's open record. So we do that now. The fact that LMPD right now is reporting that the crime violence is down, they've changed the way they're reporting. And I will not do that. I will not try to skew the situation of where the check mark is, whether it's a violent crime on wanton endangerment or just a misdemeanor. We can't skew the history of what's going on right now. We have to do this as a unified force in the future, and we have to do it to where everybody trusts what we're bringing them, because they will get it quickly, they will get it confidentially, and they will get it to what they were asking for as long as we legally can. We have to protect the youth, we have to protect the victims, but the point of the press and the LMPD working together is going to be something very unique that you all are used to in Jeffersontown, but in downtown we need to move that forward as the next chief will be coming down and realize what Erica Shields has to do to be transparent in the future.
Mr. Greenberg.
Transparency is critically important. I was honored to serve on the University of Louisville Board of Trustees, where I advocated for stronger transparency at that important institution to our city, to stop unnecessary tuition increases and to fight the then administration over excessive compensation and a lack of transparency. And through that process, I learned that transparent organizations are stronger organizations. So that will be my approach for the mayor's office, for all of city government, for the police department, and ultimately the mayor is accountable for ensuring that transparency, and I expect the city to hold me accountable as mayor for that transparency. But we also will rebuild the trust by addressing our gun crisis, something that my opponent and I very disagree on. I believe we need to crack down on illegal guns and reduce the amount of gun violence in this community. And that's why on the first day of my office, we will continue to comply with the absurd and dangerous Kentucky law that requires confiscated guns to be turned over to Frankfurt, which far too often then find their way back onto their street through auctions. We have to end this practice. So when we turn over the guns to Frankfurt, we will first render them inoperable by drilling a hole in the barrel, doing something so that a gun used to commit a crime can never be done that way again, can use to be committed a crime again. My opponent has had the opportunity to do that as a city mayor. He chose differently. He put forth a proposal that would flood our streets with guns. I believe in fewer guns on our street, not more.
Counter, please.
I actually am going to ask you the next question, but I'd like you to clarify something I thought I heard you say to Bobby. You said what Erica Shields needs to do in the future. Are you going to keep Erica Shields as police chief?
I won't tell you who's going to be where at this time, but it will be a matter of who is best qualified and who will be most transparent and who will be leading our troops in the future.
Okay. Go ahead. You can have that rebuttal, and I've got a question for you.
Anybody here understands, or that is watching understands, we all want illegal guns off. To make a statement like that, again, is a political statement to get votes, which isn't true. My opponent actually is on a board at a bank that supports the NRA. They had their debit cards. He was on the bank that authorized that to do the debit cards until they lost that. So for one side saying I want to get rid of guns, the other side making money with the NRA, I don't know where he's at on this situation. So the future of how we handle the convicts in the future is we need to get the cartel and gang leaders off, get the drugs off, and get the guns off. Quit worrying about drilling holes in guns in the future. Those guns are sold in a lot, and none of them since 2020, the whole lot was sold out of state. So it's a meaningless argument.
Another top issue.
Doug, can I respond to that? Because I think it's important.
Go right ahead.
I think it's important that voters in Louisville deal with facts and deal with reality, something that Bill is choosing not to deal with. First of all, I have no clue what he's talking about with respect to the NRA. But it is important to get guns off of the street. And in 2012, after mass shooting in this country, Bill supported a proposal in J-Town that would give free concealed carry weapons to everyone in that community. That would flood our streets with guns. We need to do everything we can to get guns off our street, not encouraging more people to carry guns. So yes, I am proud of my effort to crack down on illegal guns and do everything possible starting on the first day to reduce the amount of gun violence, along with these other important community proposals that we're talking about.
And that's not true either.
Did you support that proposal? Was it your Metro Council?
That was a proposal by a councilman, Ron Powell. He hasn't researched properly. It's not the same. It was just simply a concealed carry.
Did you support it?
It didn't come up.
Okay.
He just said it. So
all right, let's move on.
You're quoted as supporting it.
Let's move on to the next question. Since Louisville closed its youth detention center downtown, some judges and police chiefs say we need a full-time center back as juvenile crime has soared. Some top leaders in Louisville say, hold on, the focus here really needs to be on creating opportunities and program to help lift them up by changing their behaviors in life, put more money in opportunities in programs. Where do you stand? Is it time to bring back a downtown juvenile jail? Mr. Greenberg, you begin first.
As I've run, as I've run for mayor and met with families across this city that have been impacted by crime as victims, who have had their young sons or daughters that have turned to a life of crime, what I've learned is that we as a community need to do better. We need to do better supporting our youth and young adults to give them every hope and opportunity to succeed. And so what I think we need to do here in Louisville are several things. We need to focus on short-term solutions and long-term solutions. First, we need individuals that are young, that are arrested, we need to give them every opportunity to continue to stay in school, to have more enrichment and educational opportunities so that they have hope and opportunity to get a good paying career path job, that they have access to programs through Evolve 502 and can pursue education at JCTC, U of L, Simmons College, and other educational institutions. But we also need to focus on long-term solutions. And that's why I'm passionate about making universal pre-K a reality, so that every 3- and 4-year-old child in Louisville has the same opportunity to succeed. Research is clear. If a child starts their education at age 3, they will lead a safer life, a healthier life, and they will have more opportunities for prosperity. So right now, when our city is on the map for some of the wrong reasons, let's all work together and make universal pre-K a reality and put Louisville on the map for the right reason.
Mr. Dieruf, your answer to the downtown juvenile jail, return or not?
As a sitting mayor, I realized several months ago, if not even longer, that we had pulled over 3 kids, 15, and 16. They were in a stolen car. They had 6 stolen guns. And we called downtown and asked, what do we do? They said, release them to their parents. We have to bring the Juvenile Justice Center back, and I'm working with Julie Rocky Adams and Jason Nemes to bring that center back here in Frankfort now. So as I say, to wait till January 1 to try to do something with Frankfort, to work with Frankfort, I see it as something we have to do right now to bring the juvenile justice system back. But it's a matter of the kids have to have consequences, but we have to have the diversion program so that the kids see in the future that there is opportunity. And so when we start looking at opportunity, we look at when you're out of high school, you should be able to take the college degree, but also the vocational school and the IT so that they have options. And so if we can get them out of the situation and into a juvenile justice system center, we can help them with their future. We have to be able to take the kids and realize that they are our future and we need to help them now. And the center is working right now. We are working in Frankfort to bring that back here, not waiting till January 1.
Next question from WHS 11's Isaiah Kim Martinez.
Gentlemen, we'll stay on the topic here of the incarcerated. Safety within Metro Corrections has been a major concern, as you guys have heard in detail. Investigators and even jail leadership agree the current building is at the heart of the issue. Would you both consider remodeling it or finding a new space for it? Mr. Dieruf, we'll start with you.
So I've been saying this all along, and my opponent must be just realizing what the safety is in the jail. One thing we have is we have a shortage. Just like the police department, just like dispatching, we have the same shortage in the jail. And so the programs that we have to have for the people there, we don't have enough personnel to do it. But we start talking about the jail itself. Old jails were corridor, and the guards would be at the very end, and they couldn't watch the cells. But the new jail should be remodeled to where there is a center station and all the cells are around them, similar to what you all see in a hospital. And if we do that, that makes it safer, but we also have to have the programs and the personnel to have the people realize that they're having problems dealing with why they're in jail. We need to have the softer side to help the people that are in jail. We have to stop arresting the people that shouldn't be in jail, because the people that are addicted, we need to help them, not jail them. The people that are having behavioral problems, we need to help them, not jail them. And that's what we're doing in our city right now with the Angel program. You come in, we have over 300 locations we can help you across this community, across this part of the United States. And then we have a victims advocate to help. But we also have the social workers to reach out to make sure if somebody's having a behavioral problem, whether they're homeless or whether they just need help, we're there to help. We're coming out of a pandemic, and all of us need help, but especially those, as we saw yesterday on 4th Street, need us before the situation happens, not when the situation happens.
I just want to follow up. So you would be for a remodel. That would be something you'd look into, whether it be going through Frankfurt or?
Well, the remodel, as I said, rather than the corridor that they have, I would remodel it to where the center is the focal point with the jail cells around them, so to make it safer for everybody.
Mr. Greenberg, it's to you.
I've been focused on this issue for far longer than my opponent even realizes. Last fall, we called a Corrections Community Crisis Summit, working with corrections officers, mental health providers, medical professionals, justice reform advocates, to come together to sound the alarm about the crisis that's going on at our city jail right now. It was unacceptable then, and it's even more unacceptable now. The conditions there are not acceptable. Think about this. Right now, over half of the individuals in our crowded jail who are incarcerated are there on bail of less than $1,000, many of whom have committed nonviolent crimes. Yet, over half of our murders are unsolved. We need to focus on solving our most violent crimes and addressing the individuals who are committing the most violent crimes again and again in our city, and work with those who are nonviolent offenders to have new opportunities in life, to provide the services they need for education, enrichment, to get any addiction treatment that they need, if they need mental health services. And so yes, our jail should be focused on all of these programs for those individuals to end the repeat offenders and to help people break the cycle of poverty so more in our community have hope and opportunity, and together we build a safer, healthier, and stronger city.
Over to Eric King.
Gentlemen, the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe versus Wade reignited a national and state battle over the legalities of abortion services. Nationally, some have suggested the prosecution of women and medical providers who seek or perform the procedure. Mr. Greenberg, the question goes to you first. How would you enforce the abortion ban, and why?
Under my administration, we will stand with the women of Louisville, we will stand with the women of Kentucky, and we will not arrest women or girls who are seeking health care. We will not arrest doctors or nurses that are providing services to women who are alleged to have violated the extreme Kentucky ban on abortion. It is far too extreme. There are no exceptions for rape or incest under this extreme law, and as a city, we must stand up for the women in Frankfurt and in the entire country to say this will not happen in our city, and we must try to change that law. We must vote no on Amendment 2. We also must enforce the buffer zone so that women have access to health care that they deserve and need as well. My opponent is going to get ready to tell you that this is not a local issue, but that couldn't be further from the truth. After the overturning of Roe versus Wade in the Dobbs decision, the Supreme Court was clear. More than ever, the issue of abortion is a state and local issue. And so we at local level and in positions like being mayor of Louisville need to stand up for women, need to stand up for what's right, and we need to change Kentucky's extreme abortion law and not arrest women.
Mr. Dieruf, I imagine your rebuttal will be inherent in your answer here, but how would you enforce the abortion ban, and why?
So the abortion is very personal to me, and I will tell you this, and it's something that's very personal, and to each one of us it's very personal depending on our situation. But our first daughter was 3 months early, and so I realized how the sanctity of life is valued at 6 months. And then she was born, she was in the hospital for 6 months, and I went to the hospital every day, and her smile and her eyes lit up and showed us how precious life was. Unfortunately, she passed away at 18 months. And at 18 months, we realized how short life can be and how valuable life is. But when I tell you that, it's where we come from on each one of us. I do not want any woman to ever have to have an abortion. But I realize there's exceptions for rape, incest, life of the mother, and life of the child, both the child and the mother. But as the answer of enforcement, and this is where we disagree, he keeps saying it's wrong, but I can tell you it's right. The Supreme Court ruled it's still Congress can pass laws that would control it. State can pass laws. Louisville doesn't pass laws, they pass ordinances. And unfortunately, my opponent doesn't understand the difference, even though he's an attorney. But we would be doing what is legally have to be done. The mayor can't interfere with anything that goes on in that point. I will not tell my police officers what laws to enforce and what not. Whether you're his friend or not his friend is not a matter of what law we enforce. It's a matter of following the law and doing what needs to be right. But the abortion issue on the counterpoint is a issue that's going to be medical based. It's going to be the medical profession going after the doctor, not anybody else. That's the way the law will be set up in the future, if it ever passes and if it ever comes to fruition to this point.
Two quick things on that are very important. First, Bill's talking about maybe how he wants the law to be, but that's not what the law says now. It is very clear. And Bill, I have a question for you, because you just said that you won't tell your police officers which laws to enforce or not enforce. Yet just last night, you and I were at a forum together, and you made very clear that your police force in J-Town doesn't enforce the federal immigration laws. So why tonight won't you stand with women and say you will not enforce this extreme law for the women of Louisville as well?
Well, to answer your question, and again, it's because of your lack of knowledge of how the system works. Our police officers are not federal officers. They don't enforce federal laws. They enforce local state laws and local ordinances. They don't enforce state laws. So to say that I don't tell them not to enforce state laws, that's not their job. So if it's not their job, it's not a matter of me telling them not to do it. It's a matter you just don't understand how law enforcement works.
Okay. All right. With that, now's a good time to switch to downtown revitalization, Jefferson County. We want to talk about that. We begin the questioning with WHS 11's Bobby McSwine, who has covered this issue closely and through the General Assembly in Frankfort. Bobby?
All right, gentlemen, while one of you are in office, the Small Cities Bill, House Bill 314, will take effect. I visited a small community where the interest varies. What would your stance be, and how might you supplement the city's income in lieu of the potential $50 million in insurance premiums the Metro stands to lose? Mr. Dieruf, your go first.
Well, as a person that is a sitting mayor of a small city that represented all the cities in this state and also was the president of the local cities, I am very much in favor of cities. And the one thing when it would be testified for, it was interesting when the legislators said that the people in Shively and PRP don't have the income and the knowledge to form a city. To me, that hit the wrong note. Everybody should have the ability to form a city if they're not getting the services they so want. And that means anybody, whether it's in Jefferson County or across the state. 314 gave Metro the same right that any other county, any other city could be formed, the same right as the rest of the state. It will not be formed for a couple years, as you mentioned. 314 also limits our mayorship to 2 terms. 314 also does the urban service district. It looks at the taxes that are collected to make sure an audit is done so they're spent properly and that there's no subsidy. So there's a lot to 314 besides just forming cities. But I can tell you, meeting with the people out in Lake Forest, everybody thought, well, Lake Forest wants it. Lake Forest doesn't want it. It's PRP and Valley Station that says we don't get the policing that we pay for. We don't get the economic development that we so choose. We want to be able to control our destiny because apparently right now the establishment that my opponent represents is saying that the only people that are important are the people that he wants to help. So the PRP says that, but the next mayor provides it. They won't have a need to go farther with the city. They will say Metro is doing it and the next mayor will be the one that will help do that.
Mr. Greenberg?
I share the frustrations of people in Louisville who live in the outside in some of the suburban areas of this city that are frustrated with the way they've been treated, with the services that they have been provided by the city. To me, the solution is better government, not more government. We as a city have an obligation to provide great services to every corner of this city, to ensure everyone's trash is picked up on time and well, to ensure that graffiti is removed, to get abandoned cars off the road in a matter of days, not in a matter of months, to ensure the streets are clean, that the grass is mowed, that the potholes are filled. We must do a better job. But the solution is not more government. It's providing better services. And so I look forward to working with all of the suburban cities, with all of the neighborhoods across our entire great city of Louisville to provide better services. Because if this bill continues in existence, what it will do is it will reduce the population of our city, which means we're eligible for less federal funding, which will then in turn require the city to raise taxes. The last thing we want to do is raise taxes on the hardworking men and women of Louisville right now when costs are out of control, and we're trying to do everything we can to reduce the cost of living in Louisville through affordable housing and other strategies. So we'll focus on better services and better government for the entire city, not just the old city of Louisville.
Next question for both of you. Mr. Greenberg, you'll begin. LaToya Cook Bradley decided to open a second location of her Brew and Sip Coffee in downtown Louisville at 5th and Broadway in April. Not much down at 5th and Broadway, but she went down there and got a coffee shop open. But the 3 dedicated parking meters at her store are broken. She's asked for them to be fixed. As of last week, I went down there and looked at the parking meters. They're still broken. She told me she faced more rules and regulations to open downtown than she ever did with her Newburgh location. She took a risk. The reward has been bureaucracy, and she told me a lot of hassle. How would you fix this for businesses? A lot of mayors said they would fix it, but it's still apparently an issue. Mr. Greenberg.
Just like we were talking about, there are too many people like her, small business owners who are frustrated, individuals who are looking to invest their hardworking dollars in Louisville to create more good-paying career path jobs, to revitalize neighborhoods, whether it's in downtown or other parts of the city. We must do a better job. We must eliminate the red tape. I was proud to help start 21C Museum Hotels and lead that organization for many years, where we, in a similar situation, 15 years ago on the corner of 7th and Main, turned abandoned buildings that were broken windows where there were far more birds than people living in the building, and to turn it into the #1 hotel in the United States, where we created hundreds of jobs, have paid millions of dollars in taxes, and created a company that helped put Louisville on the map for all of the right reasons. We need to make it easier. There at 21C, we had a saying. We say yes. We say yes to our guests. We say yes to one another. We need that same culture of saying yes to people who want to invest in our city, who want to do business, who want to open businesses, who want to create jobs across our entire city. So I look forward to working with small business owners, with large and small businesses across the city, with entrepreneurs to make it easy to do business here in Louisville so we can grow the economy and create more good-paying jobs for people across our whole city.
Mr. Dieruf, is it possible to make them not wait so long for licenses and fees that can cripple them from even opening their doors on time?
So, yes. And when we start talking about small businesses, I understand the plea that she goes through, because she didn't have the benefit that my opponent has, say going to Lexington, getting $6 million to build a hotel out of the HUD funds. So he talks about affordable housing. He should have taken the money and done affordable housing at that point, rather than build a elitist hotel that has racist art in it. We should talk about... I am one that went to Frankfurt to change the law so that people could get through the system a lot quicker. The BOZA board was not allowed except for one place. We went and changed the laws of the BOZA board because when I first became mayor, there was a person that wanted to locate in our city as a business, and they had to have a variance, and it was going to take $50,000 in 6 months. They went someplace else. We can do that more efficient in our city of Jeffersontown. We can do the same thing down here. We need to get rid of the bureaucracy that it takes to go through. I was talking to one group, just to get a tent permit takes 8 to 10 weeks. That's a tent, and you're not even building the property. And so there's when they take the project to do a permit, It goes to many different parts. MSD, it goes to permitting, it goes to all of them. We have to make sure they stand by the timeline it needs to be. We need to eliminate the bureaucracy of somebody calling and saying, hey, who does this? And they say, it's not my job. That's one thing in government we don't do. We do, in J-Town, we say, it's our job. We will find out the solution and do it on day one.
Mr. Greenberg, would you like to respond to that?
I don't even think those ludicrous false accusations are worth a response.
Okay, we'll move on. Isaiah Kim Martinez for Bill Dieruf.
Gentlemen, I had the pleasure of watching you guys in your mayoral forum, specifically in the Shawnee neighborhood that was hosted by their neighborhood association. Obviously, the TIF was a big talker there. You guys both referenced it, the West End Opportunity Partnership. Some see it as a pathway for more resources in the area. Others in the community feel it only benefits developers and businesses. Do you support it? And if not, how would you want it changed? Mr. Dieruf, we'll start with you.
I would take it back to Frankfurt to be relooked at, because right now the people that it's supposed to be helping are the people that's saying it's not. It's causing out-of-town people to come in and take over. It's causing people from out of town to take over the rent and doubling the rent and building properties that they own and they're not even here. We need to make sure the people in the community are represented. The people in the community are the ones that control the money, even to the point of having a co-op bank that the people in the community own. The depositors should own the bank, so the TIF money should run through them so that they regulate how it is spent in their communities. The representation that we have set up right now needs to be changed, but how it's spent should be decided by the people that are actually in the community, by the people in the community, and the project should be for the people in the community, and that they own property, that they are the vendors, they are the suppliers, that it is all driven to make the West End a place to where it is growing, not to where people take money and suck it out because the taxes were held at that area.
Mr. Greenberg.
So I've made 3 specific proposals to improve the West End Opportunity Partnership because I believe it has the potential to be transformative for the residents of West Louisville. But we should make 3 changes. First, there should be more neighborhood representation on the board so that they have a controlling decision making in terms of all of the investments that are made. Second, right now, if you are a homeowner in the West End of Louisville, you have a freeze on your property taxes, but you have to pay the additional property taxes and then you'll get a refund back. For individuals who are on a fixed income, that is difficult. And so that instead of being a refund, that should turn into a credit so you don't have to come out of pocket for money that you might not have. And third, we must do more to crack down on negligent landlords. You all have all read the stories. You might even be living in a unit of housing that's owned by an out-of-state negligent landlord that is not providing you with safe, affordable, and quality housing. The largest out-of-state landlord in West Louisville owns over 1,300 units. Many of their units are not safe and not of a high quality. We must, as a city, use our code enforcement authority to ensure that every landlord provides their tenants with safe, affordable, and high-quality units. And when the landlord is the city, the responsibility should be even higher. And we're not doing our job right now. And so I will ensure as mayor that the Louisville Metro Housing Authority provides high quality housing units for every one of its residents that's living in its units now.
All right, Eric King.
Gentlemen, new hotels, new bourbon experiences, shopping options, restaurants, and sports venues have dominated downtown investment for several years. As those investments have developed, the Louisville Gardens and the Starks building are essentially empty. The Courier Journal's building is soon to be empty, and the PNC building is partially empty. Had this debate gone longer than an hour, I could list more, and you both know that. What are your plans for some of these once iconic and thriving buildings? And I'm sorry, Mr. Greenberg, it goes to you first.
I've worked my entire career revitalizing urban neighborhoods through public-private partnerships. As mayor, I'm excited about the opportunity to get downtown back on track on a huge trajectory to make it the safest, most vibrant, most authentic, most unique neighborhood in all of Louisville. Because every strong city needs a safe, strong, and vibrant downtown. We will do that by bringing thousands of new people back downtown to live in either some of these vacant office buildings, as you mentioned, or we'll work with the nonprofit community, the public sector, the private sector, to build thousands of more units, affordable housing and market rate. We'll have more commercial activity, and we will have a real grocery store in downtown Louisville, just like we will in the 9 neighborhoods of West Louisville. We will have more parks, more festivals, so that people want to be in downtown Louisville. But we must make sure that downtown is safe and clean. We need to get the graffiti off the buildings. We need to clean up the streets. And we need to have a presence so that anyone who comes downtown to enjoy time with their family, or whether they're visiting us from out of town, will have a safe and wonderful experience and then tell others. Let's bring more festivals downtown. Let's bring more music downtown. Let's bring more arts and culture downtown, so that that's a place that we all want to be.
Mr. Dieruf.
So the key thing of getting people downtown is the perception of safety and the reality of safety. So when we start talking about how do we redevelop some of these buildings, the key thing, as I said, is we will have the police presence downtown that are ambassadors to make sure it's a safe place. And there'll be enough of them down here that you see that downtown is safe a place to come. But the one thing we haven't mentioned is there's other our economic opportunities besides the bourbon. Bourbon is great. But LouMed is something that we should cherish, because this should be a hospital capital that everybody wants to come to. This should be a place that is a center for heart, for cancer, for whatever it needs to be. And we have the hospital zone right there. We should make it a place that is a campus and a place that is attracting businesses. And in order to do that, we have to have the housing downtown that the people want to come live. And do that again, to change that, we have to change zoning. We have to realize that the LDC, which I'm probably the only one that's read all 987 pages, to say this is what we need to change it to be able to do. We have to rethink downtown when we talk about bringing people to work, live, and play. In the offices, what better place to have your apartment where you can work in your apartment, but yet your company may be 10 floors above you if you have to go to a meeting. You can live here, you can work here, and you can enjoy downtown. So this would be a place that would be vibrant and you'd be excited about being downtown.
Bobby McSwine, and we are turning to arts and tourism here at the final stretch of the debate. Bobby?
Yes, gentlemen, what big and bold ideas do you have for Louisville that will not only help us retain local talent, but also attract new investment? Who do you see as partners in this work? Mr. Dieruf, you go first.
Now you're talking about in the arts and tourism?
Yes.
Okay. Just to let everybody know, because you're here today, the Louisville Orchestra is in J-Town. You all, WHAS was the one that put them in, and we welcomed them to our center to practice. So the one that loves the arts, and it's part of the love the arts outside downtown, so that people realize, and tomorrow night they'll be performing in J-Town as part of our arts program. And we formulated that because we realize how important arts is to a community, to attracting the people to want to live here, to stay here, to enjoy here. So we have Teddy out there 3 times a year. We have different arts projects besides him, and he will be performing tomorrow night on stage. But when we start looking at downtown, the Starks building is a building that they're going to refurbish to have the local artists live in while they're trying to grow their art. And that's not only the people that may play the violin, the people that may paint, the people may act. So we need to do that more and more. But on the tourism side, I was on the tourism board when they were looking at what do we look at the future. And we have to look at the future of tourism. Not only is it the Kentucky Derby that we keep them here for a week, but how do we attract them here for a lifetime? And to do that, we have to show the people we have the Bourbonism, we have Derby, we have the zoo, but we also have a great park system here that people don't realize what we have. So we have to promote the whole community to make sure that this is a place to where you come not only for a night, but want to stay for a lifetime.
Mr. Greenberg?
So 3 areas where I would like to continue to build on some of the successes we've had attracting people from around the world to visit Louisville for the bourbon industry or for the Kentucky Derby or for other events here in Louisville are first in the area of parks. Right now, if you go out to the parklands of Floyd's Forks, if you go to Waterfront Park, those are the best parks in Louisville. But those aren't city parks. They're open to the public, but they are not city parks. We need to ensure that our city parks aspire to that same quality as those parks so that everyone, regardless of where you live, has a safe, clean, and wonderful park experience. And we must continue to invest in more parks, like the Maple Street Park just south of Broadway right now, again, so that everyone in Louisville, regardless of where you live, has access to parks. And Jefferson Memorial Forest in the south end of our city, what a wonderful gem. We need to do more to make sure people know about that opportunity to be one with nature and to have unique outdoor experiences that are unrivaled in the state, in this country, and bringing people here. Second, we need to do more to have more festivals. We are a great city of festivals. We need more music festivals and more athletic festivals to bring people from around the community to have unique, authentic experiences only in Louisville. And finally, when it comes to athletics, I aspire for Louisville to be the professional women's sports capital of the world. Let's make it happen.
I've covered a lot of mayors over 35 years. They all cut parks for the first thing they cut, the budget. The money goes out. You're going to build more parks. Can you keep the funding for parks? I mean, is that something? We've had some of the best parks in this community ever, and then they've all fallen apart.
That's right.
So give me a quick answer there, Mr. Green.
The short answer is yes. A budget is a reflection of your priorities and values. And my values include the health of this community. And one way that we have a healthier city is by having more and better parks.
Mr. Dieruf.
Thank you. As a sitting mayor, when I took over this job, J-Town was $17 million in debt. We refinanced, paid it off 11 years early, saved $1 million, put another $25 million in the bank, and from that $25 million, we're building a new police department. We've already built a new public works, but we're building an amphitheater, and we're reclaiming a sewer plant for a park. So we're doing it for cash. So I understand as an accountant how to perform and what to provide the services and get the best price for what we're moving forward. So to reclaim parks, to make sure the parks are there, our next generation of workers want the passive park to enjoy it. So we have to be absolutely looking at the parks as the next way to attract the people here that want to work, live, and play.
Okay. Are we continuing this topic? If they could tell me in the back there, or is it time? Last question. Okay, here we go. Many throughout the state view Louisville as disconnected from Kentucky. What is your plan to bridge the so-called urban-rural divide and give communities the opportunity to raise money through local option sales taxes? Mr. Greenberg, you answer first.
I support that effort. We in Louisville need to do a better job of working with our state government, with the Metro Council, with people across the state, so that Louisville continues to be the economic engine. That is the cultural hub, that's the educational hub, and the economic hub of our great state. I've spent a career working with people on both sides of the aisle. There are issues that we are going to disagree on, like a woman's right to choose. But we will also work together on issues that can improve Louisville's economy, that can create more good-paying career path jobs. I will be an advocate in Frankfort, in Louisville, with JCPS, with everyone around the state, to have the best public education system in this entire country. Because our kids deserve nothing less. We must provide hope and opportunity for everyone. One thing I would love to work with the state government on is to make universal pre-K a reality. Because every 3- and 4-year-old child should have the same opportunity to succeed. Research is clear. When kids start their education at age 3, they will lead a healthier life, a safer life, and have more opportunities for prosperity. But we also must work closely together at home. We must unify our city around common values and strategies and goals. We must ensure that Metro Council has a strong working relationship with the mayor's administration so that we can truly work together and move Louisville forward in a new direction.
Mr. Dieruf.
So I appreciate my opponent just described what I do every day. I am a sitting mayor right now, and I have been the past president of KLC during the pandemic and before. I visited 187 cities during the pandemic. I understand what it means to work across the state, working with everybody in the state, working across party lines. As a mayor, I have been nonpartisan. As I represented 419 cities in this state, I never called to say what party you were. I say what help you need. During the tornado, when the tornado hit at 1:32 at night, it hit Dawson Springs. At 6:37, I was on the phone with Chris asking him what he needs. AT&T stepped up and put cell towers down there within 4 hours. Another city called and said, hey, we don't have the ability to get a land permit through Frankfurt. Can you help us? I called the governor. He's a Democrat. It doesn't matter. When people need help, it doesn't matter who you are. The people need help. Rocky up there, we had the permit within an hour and a half. So we start talking about working in Frankfurt. I've done this. I understand both the Democrats and the Republicans, and the advantage I am the Republican candidate. Frankfurt is controlled by the Republicans at this time. So working bills through there, I've done this for 12 years, and I understand how to move it forward. But also they say, well, what about here? It's more Democratic controlled. I've worked with Metro Council for many years, sat in on the committees on the whole, and worked through them. How are they going to take things to Frankfurt, and how are they going to take ordinances that control our city?
It has been a fast hour. It is time for the closing remarks. Each of you will have 2 minutes for your closing remarks. And Mr. Greenberg, you won the coin toss, so you go first.
When I started running for mayor, I decided to literally run for mayor. And I have run through all 623 precincts in this city. I've listened and learned from neighbors across our entire community about the challenges facing their block, their neighborhood, but also our entire city. And it's clear, people want to work together to move Louisville forward in a new direction. And that's what I'm excited about doing. What I have a sense of urgency to do is working with others to do that. In this election, there is a clear choice between my opponent and myself. When it comes to improving public safety and who will actually work to crack down on illegal guns, to reduce the amount of gun violence, to invest in our communities and our young adults to give them the hope and opportunity, versus my opponent whose career indicates that he will flood our streets with guns. I will not hire people from Matt Bevin's administration to move us backwards, but we will move forward with people in Louisville so that we have a safer city for everyone. We will also do things to cut the cost of living because right now people are struggling with their bills. We will invest more in affordable housing so that we build 15,000 new affordable housing units across this entire city, near improved public transportation routes and good paying jobs. That is what we owe our community. And also, when it comes to the women of Louisville, I will support our women. I will vote no on Amendment 2, and I will not enforce Kentucky's extreme ban on abortion, because that's an important value for us as a city in our entire country. We will create good paying jobs together. We will make universal pre-K a reality. These might sound like lofty goals to some, but to me, this is our only option, our only direction. Because right now we have big challenges in Louisville, but with big challenges come big opportunities. I would be honored to have your vote, and I look forward to working with you together as your next mayor of Louisville. Thank you very much.
Mr. Dieruf, your closing remarks.
Well, as my opponent was running around the city, I was actually running a city. So he is correct. It is a clear choice. As I traveled around all parts of the city, everybody is wanting a proven leader, somebody that has done this successfully for 12 years and can come downtown and understands on day one what needs to be done. But doesn't wait till day one. As I said, I am in Frankfurt right now working with the juvenile justice system. We're working in Frankfurt to bring incentives for economic development because our economic development incentives right now are for manufacturing, which should stay. But we have empty offices downtown here. We have to have incentives for them to go. When I travel around this city, it's a matter of my opponent says he wants to go a new direction. I guess he's going to vote for me because he's part of the old establishment. He's part of the 1% that ran the city for many years. I am the new direction. I am the proven direction, the way the city should go. And I represent the people, not the elitist in this town. I represent the people that will move the city forward. We had merger 21 years ago. We merged the parks, the public works, the police, but we never united the people in this community. We never said that everybody in this community should have an equitable chance of succeeding. We never have said that we all are fighting outside here to make sure this is the best place to live. This is the place that call home. We look to the future of eliminating 5 words from your vocabulary. I want you all to not say, I want to be like. It's time we stop saying, I want to be like Indianapolis, I want to be like Nashville, I want to be like Cincinnati. It's time we be the leader that others want to follow. Take what they have and make it better, and let's make Louisville the place where everybody wants to live. People ask, why are you doing this? It's because of my grandkids. I want my grandkids to grow up here, raise their family here, and this to be the city that they call home. How do you count success? At the end of my term, when everybody says, this is the place I call home, and somebody asks you where the best place to live is, and you say Louisville, I've succeeded on bringing the pride back to this community to where you call Louisville is the best place to work, live, and play. Thank you all, and I ask for your vote.
And thank you very much to both of you for coming. It's been a spirited hour. We appreciate it. As I understand, it might be the final debate before the election from you both. That is, they both acknowledge it. So you just watched the final debate here on WHAS 11 between the candidates for mayor, the Democrat Craig Greenberg, Republican Bill Dieruf. Thanks to our great partner, the Kentucky Performing Arts. Coverage continues on the WHAS 11 night team right here at 11.